it's almost impossible to give you all the details, but we give you the overall summary. And we have two basic assumptions. First, that each one of us has an unlimited potential that we limit with our subconscious acceptance of limitation. That if we can undo these subconscious concepts of limitation, what would be left over is the unlimited individual that we are. The second assumption is the basic law of this universe is harmony. It operates for the planets, it operates much more so for the animals, and is almost absent for man. And the reason for that is this subconscious programming that's holding it away from us. What we need to do is to get this constant involvement with the subconscious direction out of our way. And then this tremendous potential that is available to every one of us is usable by each and every one of us. We are now spending 99% of the time with our conscious mind holding down all the suppressed accumulation of feelings from the past. If all our anger came up at one time, we would be totally out of control. We might damage someone, and therefore we must necessarily hold down all that accumulated anger. The same with grief. If all our grief came up at once, we would be overwhelmed with grief to the point we wouldn't have control of ourselves. And this goes for all the emotions. There is so much of an accumulation of all these feelings from the past that we have to spend the major part of our time holding down these pressures. And I call them pressures because every subconscious feeling is wanting to come up and spend itself. And we are very careful lest it come up and get out of control. Now when these subconscious pushes and pulls and drives are dumped, we find ourselves completely at peace. No thoughts in our mind, no feelings except when we want a thought or want a feeling. And then by free choice, we put a feeling or thought into our mind and we carry it out. The before picture is we are being driven by our subconscious programming. The after picture is our mind is quiet, and only when we choose to put a thought or a feeling in do we do so. And we choose to use feelings in order to communicate with others. So whereas before we were a slave to our feelings, after our feelings are slaves to us. Our problem today is that the accumulation of the subconscious programming is so heavy, so extreme, we are just drowning in it. And we need a way of undoing this that is very effective. There are many ways being put out to dump this subconscious garbage. But we have discovered a way that is not known to the world yet by getting to the basics underneath it and undoing the basic so that it's like cutting the roots. We cut the roots and the majority of feelings go with it. It is a very effective method. It is a very simple method. We do give you a total picture of mind and feelings and how they operate. We give you a chart that becomes a chart of your subconscious mind that relates thought and feelings, how they relate to each other, how superficial feelings will subbase into fewer feelings that we call emotions, and how the emotions will subbase into two feelings that if we attack it there, we can undo all the feelings. It is so basic, it is extremely effective. Now there's a very interesting thing happens. As we rid ourselves of our subconscious drives, something takes its place. And that something is the thing we are all seeking, and we call that thing love. Our basic inherent nature is all love, only love. And it is covered over and smothered by our suppressed feelings. That as we dump these subconscious feelings, we become more and more loving. And as we become loving, the harmony of the universe that is there all the time begins to manifest for ourselves. As we dump these subconsciously suppressed feelings, everything in life gets better. We don't have to go for particular goals, although we may. Everything gets better. That is the nature of the world. It is harmony. I have given you quite a short encapsulation presentation, but I think if we open the floor to questions, we can relate directly to you and give you a better understanding. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask, and we will do our best to answer whatever your question is. Yes?
What is your technique?
It's a technique of first showing you the totality of mind, emotions, and how it all relates. It's a technique of getting your subconscious mind from out back there where you don't see it, right out in front of you, so you can work with it. It shows you the 4 things we can do with emotions, feelings. The worst thing we do, of course, is suppress it. The next worst thing, or better, is escape it, movies and so forth. The third thing we can do, which is the beginning of a relief from the suppression, the third thing is express the feeling or the emotion. And the fourth thing is the thing that we work on. It is dumping the suppressed emotions. So when you see that whole picture, the picture of your mind, and you have your mind really down there, you'd be surprised what's in there, but when it's on paper and on a chart in front of you, it charts the whole thing, where you are, where you need to go, and it gives you the whole method right on that chart. It's experiential.
Well, the psychiatrist can spend a better part of a person's lifetime delving into his mind and coming away after 15 years maybe finding nothing or very little. How can you in 30 hours bring out a person's entire subconscious?
Because I myself had been with psychology, psychiatry from the 20s up until 52. I studied all the psychologies. I started with Pavlovian, Watson's behaviorism, through Freud up until the present time. I had 4 years of psychoanalysis under an associate of Freud, who's not alive today, 4 times a week. I've been through all that, and I never got the answers through the psychiatric approach. Their goal was to adjust me to my environment. I didn't get the answer there. I got worse and worse and worse. After I had my second heart attack, I had enough incentive to get the answers. I had to get the answers. I discovered, by getting within myself, in a period of 3 months' time, that each one of us is a being with no limits. Psychiatry doesn't know this yet, but I discovered it for me. If it's for me, it's for everyone. Whatever I went through, anyone can go through. By taking that way, I discovered we are beings that have no limits. And once you see the total picture, you see what the mind is. You see, the psychiatric world has a difficult time explaining mind, happiness, and so forth. I can tell you what it is. It's so simple. Your mind is the sum total collection of all your thoughts and feelings, period. Now, the majority of them we're holding subconsciously.
Well, how do you release these?
Because
It's that simple.
it's simple, but we are so conditioned to use almost our total attention to keep our feelings suppressed. We have to bypass your habit of your lifetime to take you through it again and again, experiencing you in it so that you know what it is through experience. The answers will never be gotten through your reasoning mind is one thing you learn. You probably know it today, right? You can't get the answers through your logical mind. I tried. Not only did I study the field of psychiatry, but I studied all the philosophies. I even studied medicine, economics, every field of man trying to get the answers to no avail. I reached a point where I was at the end of the line. They told me I might die any day. Then I realized that all the accumulated knowledge that I had gotten over so many years, reading textbook after textbook, was of no use. That I had to drop all that and sort of start from scratch. Then I discovered this method, that it's not in the reasoning mind, it's in understanding the feelings. It's in understanding what suppressed feelings are, how to get a handle on them, get them up, and actually dump them. I would have to take you through it. I could talk forever and never explain it to you because it's experiential, like trying to tell you what an orange tastes like. I can't explain it to you. If I gave you the orange and you ate it, you would know. It's something we have to take you through. And I'm telling you, it's something that I cannot prove to you. The only proof, the real proof, would have to be your taking it, of course. The next best proof is talking to someone that you know and have confidence in who has been through it. The third proof would be what you pick up from me. I cannot sell it like an external product. It is a subjective science. It is a science. And there's no external presentation of it. It's the going through it, the experiencing of it, that proves it to you. And one of my basic principles is believe nothing until you can prove it for yourself.